Roman military might and its capacity to subjugate and hold large swaths of territory were legendary. A system of norms and principles regulated the Roman military's strategic approach to battle, which contributed to its success. Here is a summary of some important Roman military regulations. 1. Training and discipline. Roman soldiers were renowned for their obedience to commands, discipline, and training. The training was hard and focused on cooperation, fighting prowess, and physical fitness. Strict penalties for violations and a hierarchical command structure were used to enforce discipline. 2. Planning and arrangement. The Roman army was extremely well structured and organized. Each of the roughly 5,000 infantry regiments that made up each legation of soldiers was bolstered by auxiliary and cavalry forces. Roman military operations relied heavily on logistics. Supply routes were kept in good condition to guarantee that soldiers had enough supplies and gear for battle. 3. Siege tactics and fortifications. The Romans have great proficiency in building defensive constructions such as ramparts and walls. During campaigns, they frequently used fortified camps to hold their positions. The Romans used a range of siege warfare tactics, such as battering rams, siege towers, and siege engines, to get past enemy defenses and take fortified cities. 4. Tactics and strategy. Maneuverability and adaptability were key components of Roman military strategy. Instead of making direct frontal attacks, they would frequently try to outmaneuver and envelop the opposition. Roman tactics involved formations of trained soldiers, like the well-known testudo tortoise formation that offered protection from missile fire, and the wedge formation that was employed to breach enemy defenses. 5. Warfare psychological. The Romans recognized the value of psychological warfare in weakening and controlling their adversaries. To weaken the determination of their adversaries, they would frequently use strategies like propaganda, psychological manipulation, and threatening acts of strength. 6. Flexibility and originality. Roman military success was largely attributed to its capacity for innovation and adaptation in the face of shifting conditions and fresh difficulties. Roman engineers created cutting-edge inventions, including the gladius, a short sword, and the pilum, a kind of javelin, which became recognizable Roman army weaponry. 7. Alliances and diplomacy. Despite their reputation as fierce soldiers, the Romans understood the need of alliances and diplomacy in accomplishing their geopolitical goals. They would frequently make alliances with nearby tribes or subjugate rival leaders in an attempt to divide and conquer. 8. Crucial conflicts. The Romans understood the need of decisive fights in ensuring victory, even though they frequently favored avoiding needless risks and casualties. Roman generals usually chose to fight battles where they could maximize their advantages in discipline, organization, and tactics. They often tried to confront the enemy on favorable terms and terrain. 9. Infrastructure and engineering. Being expert constructors, the Romans used their engineering prowess to build infrastructure projects as well as fortresses to aid in their military battles. Roman authority could be projected across great distances thanks to the quick movement of troops and supplies made possible by roads, bridges, and aqueducts throughout the empire. 10. Burning earth strategies. The Romans used scorched earth tactics in several situations, especially during defensive battles or retreats, to deny the enemy essential resources and impede their advance. Through the destruction of animals, crops, and infrastructure in enemy territory, the Romans were able to disrupt the adversary's supply chain and make life difficult for them. 11. Propaganda and psychological warfare. Roman generals used a variety of psychological strategies to demoralize their opponents and motivate their own soldiers because they recognized the value of morale in combat. In Rome, triumphs were commemorated with triumphal processions, while vanquished adversaries were frequently the targets of public displays of Roman might and shame. 12. Making use of auxiliaries and cavalry. Although the Roman legions were the core of the army, cavalry and auxiliary troops were crucial in enhancing their power. Naval warfare was facilitated by the specialized skills of auxiliary forces who were recruited from non-Roman peoples. Cavalry squadrons offered reconnaissance, flank protection, and pursuit capabilities. 13. Naval combat. In order to dominate the Mediterranean and safeguard their marine trade routes, the Romans also built strong naval troops. Among the strategies used in naval warfare were ramming attacks, boarding parties, and the building of advanced warcraft, such as the quinquereme and trireme. 14. Enlistment and nationality. Roman citizens, obligated to serve in the military as part of their civic duty, made up the majority of the army. Non-Roman troops who distinguished themselves in battle were sometimes awarded citizenship, which encouraged their allegiance and commitment to the empire. 15. Cohesion and training. To maintain unity and effectiveness on the battlefield, Roman troops received intensive training in both individual combat skills and group tactics. Drills, or training exercises, focused on coordination, discipline, and the capacity to react swiftly and forcefully to orders. 16. Command structure and leadership. Roman officers were chosen on the basis of their qualifications and experience, and the army was commanded in a hierarchical manner. Senior officers like tribunes, and centurions supported the legatus, the commanding officer of a legion. 17. Uniformity and standardization. The uniformity and standardization of weapons, strategies, and organizational structures were highly valued by the Romans. Soldiers had uniform armor and weaponry, which made interoperability among units easier and streamlined logistics. 18. Perspicacity and perception. The Roman military had a wide-ranging network of intelligence to learn about the movements, plans, and weaknesses of its adversaries. To obtain information on the positions of the enemy, the topography, and defensive structures, scouts and reconnaissance units were sent out. 19. Campaigns and strategic planning. Roman military operations were methodically organized and planned, taking into account many elements like terrain, climate, and adversary capabilities. Generals would create comprehensive strategies for accomplishing their strategic goals, frequently using trickery and surprise to gain the upper hand. 20. Influence and legacy. Roman military strategy and tactics have influenced combat for a very long time and are still present in modern military doctrine. Around the world, military historians and strategists study ideas like discipline, organization, and strategic planning since they are still essential to contemporary military operations. If you liked the video, so please subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching.